And Xander Bogaerts, he's fallen over the past week from 33.7 to 34.3. I'm guessing it's because of the whole pitch tip thing. But, again, I said this last week. I'll say it repeatedly. I'll treat this on a case-by-case basis. Guys, Xander Bogaerts a good player. And he's really one of the most underrated players on that offense. He was a fairly highly touted prospect. But he's just one of those guys that shows up to work and does his job, right? So last year, I'll tell you what kind of keyed off Bogaerts last year was his increase in batting average. For me, anyway. I'm an old school guy, right? So he jumped from 288 in 2018 to 309 last year. Fairly significant, right? 23 homers to 33 homers. That's a 10 homer increase. Now, I know the balls were different last year. I know we don't know if they're going to be the same way this year, right? So you kind of have to take that and treat it. It's weird because you want to take it into account. It does count, but it doesn't count because the balls were basically racket balls last year, right? Put that aside. 7 years now. It doesn't feel like 7 years that Xander Bogaerts been in the major leagues. He's a career 288 hitter. So he went from 23 homers to 33 homers last year. I like that jump. Again, he'll play this year at 27 years old. Okay? Here's what I'm talking about. He doesn't give you stolen bases. But this guy's a great evener. Okay? So if you have to draft a guy who's going to be a batting average suck or a home run suck because you want stolen bases, this guy averages out your batting average. He gives you serviceable homers. He gives you serviceable across the board. Yes, he doesn't steal many bases. We're all working on our batting averages, right? So let's talk about this next tier, this third tier. And here's one of the real points to this conversation that I want to talk about. I'm going to read them to you, and then I'm going to give you a player, and I'm going to tell you why I like them, okay? So we're going from 9 to 14 here in our middle infielders. George, you're always guest Blanche. So 9 to 14 here. Ozzie Albies, ADP 45. I have it number 9. Bo Bichette. Lenny always talks about making bold statements and then drafting to back it up. I have Bo Bichette in this tier. So as you go through these ADPs, think about this. Bo Bichette at 81.7. So Albies at 45, Bichette at 81.7. Number 11 is Fernando Tatis Jr. at 20.3. Again, this is rigid, but it's partially to make a point, guys. Okay? Number 12, Adalberto Mondesi, ADP 44. 13, Jonathan VR, 35.7, and 14, Manny Machado at 56.3. This is a really interesting tier. And as we start talking about these 6 guys in particular, Lenny, I think it's, again, I do this because it's about value. Clearly, there's one value player in here. But again, I like to talk holistically. I like to talk value. And then I like to talk to statistics. And that's how I kind of operate. I've never really kind of told you guys that because I'm a little OCD and I'm a little literally dyslexic. So my thoughts are all over the place. Think Beautiful Mind meets Joe Dirt, okay? But in all seriousness, though, we're doing this for a reason. Because we want to identify values. Lenny Guest Roberta can talk shit all he wants. Or she wants. I'm all right. I got thick skin. I'm glad to have him or her. I'm glad he's asking questions. I hope he asks more. I welcome everyone. Even if you want to heckle me. I love it. Okay? So let's talk about these 6 guys. Because this is where you're making or breaking. This is where you're holding or folding. But I think it's important to know these are the guys we value. If I'm drafting today, I apologize. Anyway, I apologize, but I'm not going to let it dictate. I am who I am, guest. And I appreciate having you. But I don't think you'd want a reduced version of me. Because that's just, you're not getting the content from it, right? So I love everyone, and I'll take what you have to say, and I'll work on it. That's feedback. I love everyone that follows me, in all honesty. So, and I do treat this very seriously. So let's talk about these 6 guys, though. Let's get back on point. Bo Bichette is where I'm really headed with this. But I don't want to... Exactly, George. Thank you. I don't want to go right there. Okay? I don't want to go right there. Because I want one of these guys. Why? Because we're talking about, in most of these instances, we're talking about speed power. And that's what's so great about this category. It's speed power. If you don't get here, you're going to have to overcompensate elsewhere. Ozzie Albies at 45, you're talking about a 3rd to 4th round pick. It's not a bad value. Ozzie Albies is still one of the youngest players in the majors. He's only 23, so if you're looking at dynasty format, you'll want to weight him in a positive direction in that format. And if you're in a redraft, it doesn't matter, right? 24 homers and 15 stolen bases last year. I view both of those as a floor this year. Again, at 23 years old and getting more. I saw this guy play 2 different times here in Indy. He is a knowledgeable hitter. He is a polished hitter. I think 30-20 with a 300 batting average is not out of the realm of possibility. Again, I have him first in this tier for a reason. At 23 years old, I really value this guy. I value this guy over Bo Bichette. That should say something. Because those of you that know me, those of you that have been with me from the beginning, know how I feel about Bo Bichette. I've said from the beginning, Bo Bichette was a better player than Vladimir Guerrero. From the beginning, I've said that. And I'm not wavering. Obviously. I love Bo Bichette. At ADP 81.7, this guy is the steal of a draft type player. This guy will be I did this on purpose. I put Bo Bichette in front of Fernando Tatis on purpose. I want you guys to think about why I did that as I'm talking about Bo Bichette. At 81.7, you're talking about what? A 7th, 8th round pick. One of these things is not like the other. In this tier, Ozzie Albies at 45, 4th round pick. Fernando Tatis at 20.3, 2nd round pick. Mondesi at 44, 4th. Hyura at 53. You're talking about a 2 to 3 round value on this guy that could put up every bit of the numbers that Fernando Tatis Jr. put up last year. This is a bargain. Listen, this is a bargain discount price on Bo Bichette. You won't get him in round 7 next year. I guarantee you that. This business is all about making stakes and standing by them. Last year I missed on a lot of players, but I talked about Jordan Alvarez. I talked about Lourdes Gurriel. I talked about Bo Bichette. Yes, I was wrong on a lot of players. Absolutely. I'm stamping my flag in the ground on Bo Bichette in this tier. That doesn't mean I don't like these other guys, though. So I'm not going to do them a disservice by overemphasizing Bo Bichette. Okay? Let's talk about Fernando Tatis. What a great player. What a great rookie season. Got hurt last year, but really was on pace for a great season. He still had a great season. 317, 22 homers, 16 stolen bases. At 21, here's the thing. While Bichette's era goes up, I think Tatis's era goes down just a smidge because pitchers are going to adjust to him. What do I mean? Well, he had a K rate of 30% last year. So he needs work on his plate discipline. His chase contact rate was 42.3%. Think about what it is. Chase, absolutely, Mount Powell. I totally agree. I'm not disagreeing with you. Listen, he is a 40-40 type guy. But the sophomore slump is real. Major league pitching is real. 30% K rate, 42.3%. I know I'm hitting home with you, Malpal. I know that. As a Padres fan, I know I'm hitting below the belt. Okay? But here's the point. 42.3% chase contact rate. Think about what that means. Chase contact rate, 42.3%. The league average is 59.6. I'm not saying he's not capable of it. I'm not saying he won't overcome it. I think he does. But I think he suffers just a touch this year, especially early on, to adjust to what Major League pitchers have now studied on him and have as a base ground of information. I love Tatis. I have him in this tier for a reason. These are all, I want one of these 6 players. I'm targeting these guys. We talked about it last week, right? You step on someone's prospect or you step on someone's players, it hurts their feelings. You saw who I drafted, though, in our mock draft, right, Malpal? You saw I took Trey Mancini. So let's move on. I guess my only point is I think 20.3 is a little high for a 22-year-old second-year player. He concerns me a bit. Here's a guy, Kevin. Perfect timing. How about Adalberto Mondesi?